Already so big.
Hello, kitties.
I'm going to charge you rent for my screwdriver. You're not buying a screwdriver. You're licensing the use, and you have a monthly subscription for a screwdriver. For some greedy buggers think it's just a way of doing a cash grab.
Action! Hi guys, and welcome back to day 19. So let's go to another topic. So recently I heard you also got very much interested into Bitcoin and Ethereum. What's that all about?
Well, there's a lot to it. I mean, it'd be more accurate to say I'm intrigued by the software aspect and the mathematical models of the blockchain. And I think there's a lot there, especially because there's an interesting way that they can enable distributed processing and distributed systems for the IoT, for example, the Internet of Things, in more elaborate ways. I think that the cryptocurrency themselves are sort of first movers and in some sense bad examples. But they have so much momentum and value. Heck, $1 trillion of capitalization. It's hard to say it's nonsense since there's, well, some people claim to have a lot of money in it. And how much there is maybe not quite what it seems, but definitely there's a lot there. So I can't really disregard it. But despite that's where all the big amount of money is, I still think that's sort of just the tip of the iceberg about blockchain and enabling decentralization of various ways. And interestingly enough, again, there's irony involved here. Maybe some potential contradictions. It's decentralizing things by centralizing them, but in a decentralized way.
Okay, you have to explain that.
Yes, because they say that, like Bitcoin, for example, says that it's enabling everybody independently of some central authority. Okay, and yet the blockchain is one chain. You run your own nodes. Everybody has them around the world, but it's just one. There's just one state of truth in the whole world system. It's not centrally controlled in the sense there's one machine that defines it, that you hack the machine is done. It's everyone's distributed chain, so everyone is contributing to validating the truth that no one can control, yet it's still one. It's still just one. And every payment you make to your buddy next door on the blockchain is also visible to everyone in Indonesia who's doing this, and all the guys in Russia can see it. It's visible. It's very centralized, even though the implementation is distributed. So this is like this yin and yang we keep going back and forth about. I find that very fascinating. Things are analog and digital at the same time. Things are centralized and distributed at the same time, et cetera, et cetera. Many examples. The nature of living contradictions. I find that very, very interesting.
So you also say when it comes to blockchain technology, you have something else called IoT, Internet of Things.
That's right.
You have coins like IOTA, for instance, or other implementations. Do you think those will come to fruition and we'll see like a mass adoption in industry?
Well, I think you keep trying to turn a mathematical premise into some sort of monetized unit. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, I have a cat. I have kittens. How much are you selling your kittens for? I mean, I'm not selling them for anything. I mean, it's not. You can't try to make a monetary unit out of it, or it'll fail miserably. I mean, you're getting married. You have a family. How much are you selling your daughters for? I mean, it's not quite how it works. Maybe it works sometimes, but I mean, you say, do I have IOTAs that are going to have coins and come to money? If that's what you mean, I mean, maybe not, or maybe something happens, a wrench in the works, which I'm very good at doing, by the way, that screws up the whole thing. It could be la-di-da. But the whole blockchain part of the IoT is not going away. What you do currency-wise, these little coin fluty-wooties, amusing, huh? Amusing.
My question was more like, do you think that like coin like IOTA, for instance, could be implemented in, let's say, a production somewhere at Siemens or General Electric, that, for instance, one crane talks to the vacuum cleaner and then to the coffee machine in the future?
You're talking about networking, or you're talking about like a monetary cryptocurrency unit involved in this, or what's exactly?
Yeah, for instance, the coffee machine has to pay electricity to the power plant, and that could be handled via IoT. Let's say via IOTA, for instance, you would pay the bill.
I think we're probably getting a bit into a bit of a technical deep dive for your audience, but let me just say this: the guy who invented Ethernet, what was his name? He's an Irish guy. What was his name?
Metcalfe.
Robert Metcalfe. Yeah, he was. Famous. Ethernet's everywhere. The protocol's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. All your telephones typically run on it. You don't even realize it. And all these encapsulations of Ethernet. Anyway, it's kind of technical. But the point of it is, this was a revolutionary although in sort of a not an in-your-face consumer way, but revolutionary behind the scenes that came out in the 1980s, I guess it was. And when he realized it was going to go so popular, of course, he had patents, and I think he founded 3Com or something like that. He got wealthy, surely. And he said, and Ethernet basically is just a way of having packets go along a wire with unique ways that other packets can collide and they back off, and you can still get through it through a noisy channel. That was really the breakthrough. Otherwise, the signals just collide, and in conventional ways it didn't work. And it was so successful to this day. It's everywhere. And it's not internet, it's Ethernet, by the way, for you non-technical people. But the point is, he looked back and said, there's one big regret about that. He never found a way to monetize the traffic. There was no field in the field's packets of how to route and so forth. There's no field that said cost. It's like, there's no cost in it. Of course, you have a greedy little bugger. Oh, there's no packets because one of those would be a commission to me. What is that? So, that was his big regret, but probably the freeness makes it so useful. But what you're talking about now is reinventing that. So now there is a transaction fee because you want to send or you want to receive or you want to use my network, which is my wire. I'm going to charge you rent for my screwdriver. You're not buying a screwdriver. You're licensing the use, and you have a monthly subscription for a screwdriver. But sooner or later, when you have government control, you're going to force to do it because the government controls you, which is exactly what the Bitcoin enthusiasts want to get away from for, decentralization. And yet, so there's also, ironically, again, more irony, the possibility that having these cryptocurrencies is going to enable tyranny and fascism, even as it nominally is supposed to avoid it. And this is already happening in some ways, in the sense that Bitcoin is supposed to be liberating transactions, but it's too expensive for transactions now. It's just, wealthy holding on to money and speculation derivatives. There's no transactions at all. You don't really want to buy ice cream with Bitcoin, except for the derivative ways, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm leery of this, although I do see pay for services view. But that financial model needs to be vastly refined and expanded before some greedy buggers think it's just a way of doing a cash grab.
What you just said about Metcalfe is very interesting, because Ethernet or TCP/IP should be permissionless, right? So that's how it actually gained mass adoption. And same with Bitcoin, because it's permissionless, right? Everybody can use it. Everybody can interact with it. You don't have to ask. You don't have to pay to interact with Bitcoin.
It's just a standard.
Did Archimedes ever try to license and monetize his concept of a lever that could lift the world? Did you ever try to? Ancient Greeks ever say, I invented a democracy, now here's your cost per unit? Jesus, where'd this come from? Good Lord. I mean, Ethernet, Bitcoin, it's just new tools for stuff. Well, what's the value added that somebody wants to, suck the life out of it? And we can go off into tangents here as well, but you can see things like this as well happening in other ways that have nothing to do with technology directly, but indirectly they enable this. For example, Uber has been accused of being so efficient they leave nothing on the table. There's no slush funds on the table around for the drivers, the tip. It's all monetized away into their pockets.
For real?
So
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's just human nature to try to be greedy, and these technology things are often greed enablers. And may I say this is anti-biblical as well? Can I bring religion into this?
Go ahead.
There's a Bible verse. It's my favorite Bible verse, if only I can remember which one it was. But anyway, some minutes back when, again, God, I guess, was making rules, or maybe it was Moses, whatever, about how the ancient Israelites and their mobile tribes were supposed to do it. One of the things that's interesting is one of the commandments was for harvesters, farmers, I guess, but farmers, harvesting their grain. And it said, he said, I got to look up this verse to see exactly what it says, but you'll recognize it with a quick search. And it basically was saying, do not be too diligent at picking up every piece of grain. When you harvest it, just pick up most and just leave a bit lying around. Like, why? Because after you do it, then the poor people, the widows are going to come. That's going to feed them because they have no money. They can't buy your stuff. Just leave it around so the poor can come and get some. It's just, okay, why not? You're going to make your money. Just leave it around for the rest of them. That is key, leaving a bit of value on the table after you've taken your share so the rest of it can go there. And that efficiency has been drilled out of the system with technologies these days. There's nothing left on the table for the poor people. Well, we don't have slavery anymore. Oh, nonsense. We have monetized slavery away. These people, work for minimum wage. They're absolutely free to get a job at another minimum wage place as well. And it's better than slavery, because with slaves, you had to feed them and house them. We don't have to do that anymore. monetized away slavery at at whose expense? Like I say, there's historical precedents for a lot of these things, and you say can one IoT device talk to another at whose price? Ethernet's free,
That's right. So let's talk about the last technical topic before we come to another topic. You're running a thumbnail data center in your basement. What's that all about?
Well, interestingly enough, this is just my prototype of trying to run cryptocurrency processors. Not so much. I'm not mining or anything. I'm not creating anyone. I'm just actually enabling the filthy rich to do their transactions. But the point of it is, it's also having it's a privacy thing, because having a private part, there's also a platform for doing some software development there, using my own infrastructure, not somebody else's. And there's also sort of a little test to see if it's really feasible. And I'm just using on those small little Raspberry Pi computers. And having been in the technology field for many years, it's quite impressive how these little small little cheapo $100 units have the processing capacity that 10 years ago would cost you $50,000 in a huge data center. It's like it's right
incredible.
there. No. And all this is coming out is derivatives of the substantial increase of processing power from mobile phones. All these phones, your mobile phone that you have now is way more powerful than all the computers that launched all the moonshots. All those are primitive. Your phone has way more stuff. Your phone, the camera, and all this Pi's is just offshoots of mobile phone technology. But without the phone, it's just the basic parts you can program yourself, and it's just incredibly powerful. And there's a threshold, I think, at which you can use one of these things for doing cryptocurrency distributed node processing for these things, and I'm doing it. And I do it because they're small, yeah, sure, but I can do a whole professional installation with full diligence and actually watch it run, and then do my own software development aside to, perhaps come up with some interesting new products. And so it's basically just a quirk, and I can also use it as a reference. I want to be going into the lecture circuit for giving discussions, so forth. I can use this as a reference example.
Interesting. So you're running nodes for Bitcoin and Ethereum, right?
Yes, and the Lightning on top of it as well.
And Lightning. Cool.
And more as well.
So with Lightning, you can actually pay your coffee, right, in day-to-day business.
It's interesting where they say, in the reference books about it, say how easy, the Bob Alice sort of story. Alice goes and buys coffee from Bob, and the Lightning Network is so effortless and easy. Then you read the next chapter, how to implement, and the whole thing about implementing the thing. The first 4 huge pages is, don't do this, don't do this. Here's how it can be hacked. Don't ever do it if you don't trust the other guy. Why? It's all secure. It's secure, but don't trust the other guy if you don't. So why are we? I don't get it. What have we come around a full circle? Here's my credit card, but I can see your number. Well, I don't know. If you're using Lightning, you gave away your address. You might be hacked. You might be so why is Alice doing all this stuff when she buys a coffee from Bob? Go figure. And now El Salvador is trying to roll this out, this Lightning wallet based on Bitcoin for this, and having troubles. And for some reason, people aren't quite trusting this for some reason. You only got $30 for free. Okay, they're still not. Well, I don't know. Bitcoin's technology. Where's the trust? Where's the what is it? I could run my own. Yeah, effectively, they say little nodes like I have are effectively little banks. In some sense, that's true. They are, but. Where's the trust? Do people really know what they're doing or what's really going on? And, and the more you think you know what's going on, who's going to come around and try to hack it from you? And either directly with IT security hacks or social engineering or just financial shenanigans so it goes away or doesn't count or la-di-da-di-da. Where's the trust? That's what I want to know. And at least by having this, I can be involved in actually being aware more directly what's going on. And maybe I can have applications that actually build trust, or here's reasons why you might want to trust it, or enabling trust between people. That's really effectively, I guess, what it comes down to. If you trust your institutions, or who do you trust and how and why. And there's opportunities. So that's kind of why
maybe you can license your data center out to El Salvador. Hi.
Yes. There's certainly as things are going forward, and or in Cuba where they're monetary networks and so forth.
All right. So, shall we take a break?
Yeah, take a break.